Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Good Times Hour. All right, B, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, please put your hands together and welcome our special guest and longtime friend of the show. He's the baby driver who can always spare a fiver for the gas to pass from place to place to see old and new faces in new and old places. It's always easy riding when he's gliding down the shakedown streets of every town up and down and all around the nation, vibing to breakdown beats from station to Terrapin Station. And everyone he meets is either a friend or a friend he hasn't met yet. So, dude, let's roll away the dew with a friend of the Sun Devil and make everything feel new. Let's flick the disc and not be brisk about tearing a while with the homies and frisbees that keep the smile this guy puts on everyone's face, every place he wanders and every journey he ponders. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the tee, from Overland Park, Kansas, the leader of the Fellowship of the Fling, Hal Baby Kurz.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That was great.
The dude was last minute. Mace told me to put that in
Yeah,
there.
I was like, oh, I got to throw the dude in there somewhere. I should have said something.
The shakedown street.
So there's obviously in those intros lots of little Easter eggs that I built in just for the guest and for people who know the guest. But yeah, that's one of the things I love to do is craft those intros.
And you
so
do it
welcome.
well. Thank you. Welcome. Hey, mates. Paul.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm great.
So I take it the second half of the drive went well?
You know, the first drive all the way to Reno was fine. There was no cars, but once you get to Reno and then start going down in, it just gets hairy.
Yeah.
Busy, a lot busier.
It's a popular spot.
It's a very popular spot. But yeah, we got here. We're cruising. Everything's good. Join the Silicon Valley Disc Golf Club.
Nice. So you're not joining us from Overland Park tonight. You're joining us from where?
Campbell, California.
Okay.
Campbell, California. Haven't been there yet.
Look at that Mediterranean sun. That sun is like a halo in the background for you, my friend.
It is. I mean, it's 60s in the morning, 85 during the day, and 60s at night. It's basically, you can count on it.
Beautiful.
But I will be back to Kansas City after Labor Day.
Right on, man. All right, so here's what we're gonna cover tonight. The first thing will be the origin story. The next thing is going to be your PDGA number and the events that led to that. Then we're going to talk about
two numbers.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Hold it. We'll
okay.
Get to that
okay.
All right. So the third thing we're going to talk about freestyle and frisbee career. Then we're going to talk about disc golf in Kansas, and then we're going to hit you with the 20 questions. And so Hal Baby Kurz, he's the past president of the Kansas City Flying Disc Club. He's a member of the Kansas Flying Disc Association Hall of Fame, and you're a winner of multiple national championships as a member of the Bud Light Frisbee team.
Yeah.
And you were the sergeant of arms for the Kansas City Club. Is that current or is that past?
That's past. That's
yeah.
Past. Yeah.
How long did you do that?
For a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just start with the origin story. As I told you before we started, exclusives, you and I put that in there, Sun Devil. You went to the Arizona State University on a gymnastics scholarship. That was starting in 75?
So starting in 75, exactly. And then I had no idea about frisbee, just normal playing back and forth, obviously. And then I came to the end of my gymnastics career, which was 78. And I saw this guy spinning a disc, Eric Kime. I ran over there and said, you got to show me how to do this. So, and basically how everybody else does, you do it. And then for hours and hours, you're learning how to spin the disc. And, and with my gymnastics career, I knew I could kind of learn how to do it and figure it out. So that's kind of how it got started. And I spent the summer there. And then on my way back to Kansas City, I stopped in at Fort Collins and saw the tournament there with, Craig Van Sickle and Westerfield and Joe Cahill. And that was got me hooked. Right. So from then on, that was the start of it.
And I mean, Frisbee was part of the zeitgeist. Everybody knew about Frisbee. They were everywhere. They were sold everywhere. But it's seeing someone do something kind of particularly magic, something you hadn't thought or ever seen before. That's kind of the moment that it happens for people. That's the moment of,
Correct.
transfixing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No, go ahead. It's a whole nother realm of Frisbee compared to throwing back and forth. I mean, you're learning how to do tricks, and then that gets into other stuff, and that's kind of how I met Crazy John. I was spinning the disc on my finger, and I was doing some tricks, and then I was back in Kansas City, and we were at this music festival, and I was playing Frisbee with somebody, I don't know who, and then obviously Craze comes running over, and that's kind of how
Did he have the trombone with him?
No, he did not have the trombone with him. Yeah. I didn't even know he played trombone, but he had these big Coke bottom glasses. I don't know if you ever seen a picture of Craze.
Oh yeah. I've seen like the videos where he's making the baskets on what show was on that? What TV show where he was throwing them from the back of the set and making them, and he had those big glasses then too.
Oh yeah. What show was that?
It wasn't Ed Sullivan, but it was something similar.
No, yeah. Well, you're gonna have Craze on your
Couple weeks.
soon.
Yeah, like
It's going to be, but we're, I mean, obviously we're going to try to play some video here tonight just to give, because freestyle is one of the unfortunate things is that we've split so much in the different disc sports realms that there's people in disc golf who have no idea what freestyle is or what it looks like or how graceful it can be. And when you do see
graceful.
it,
But if you look online, I mean, it's still really big in Europe and
Right.
places like that. But even all the other sports too. I mean, disc golfers do not play or know, DDC, self-cock flight. I mean, all that stuff. Accuracy.
So for you at the beginning, when you were playing some early tournaments, and obviously this is not PDGA tournaments, this is before the PDGA comes into effect, but were they overall tournaments? Did they involve all the
Most
different-
likely they were overall
Yeah.
tournaments.
But did you play all the overall events?
I did.
Okay.
I love playing all the overall events. It was fun. We had so in Kansas City in 79, we had an indoor. So my dad built an
Right.
80,000 square foot warehouse. You know about that? And
I do.
so we had a disc golf tournament, and we had accuracy, and we had guts. But the best part of the whole thing, I mean, it was awesome. But the best part about the whole thing is Ken Westerfield and Tom Monroe were traveling through with their show
Oh.
basically, and they stayed for the weekend and played. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Two Johnny Appleseeds going around the country. And
yeah,
there you guys are like a self-generated community right there.
it
And
was.
playing indoors. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a highlight for sure back in the day.
nice.
Well, I read Dr. Ace Mason's obituary and I read that section where there were two groups in Kansas City that had no idea of each other really, but then somehow you guys got together and you met in your dad's warehouse. I didn't realize there was a full tournament in there.
Right, there was a full tournament, and well, Tom Engel, it was kind of his idea, and we kind of put it all together. We put 55-gallon drums up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to throw around for disc golf, and then we'd take water and put it on the concrete, and that would be the lake.
Nice.
You got to make do with what you got, right?
You got to make do with what you got. But the coolest part about it is people came from, Topeka, Wichita, St. Louis, and everything, and it started at 8 in the morning and finished like 11 o'clock at night. And it was
Well,
just
because you didn't have to worry about sunset, right?
don't worry about anything, and it was just, yeah, it was a neat experience.
Nice.
Yeah,
Was it-
Nice. I
just-
never heard that story before.
Just the one time?
just the one time.
Okay.
Then they moved into the warehouse, and that was over with.
Oh man. Again, it's just a lot of times the best stories, it just happens because it's just so fortuitous that, things dovetail together at the right amount of synergistic,
Well, exactly. I mean, Tom Ingle back in the day, I mean, when I first met Tom, he had a object course on Gillen Park, and he started the ultimate right across from his street. And that's kind of how things started, and he's the one that designed Swope and got that thing going. So, a lot of kudos to him.
Well, we're gonna hopefully get into some sections a little bit later, talking specifically, because Kansas has been a long time a hotbed of disc golf and big events, and they're really kind of an important part of the disc golf history of the United States.
It's a big community. I mean, as Minnesota is, I'm sure, a big community, and it's
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the few that it's like that, where like where I live, there's a lot of different clubs. There's not one club, and it's so spread out here that it really wouldn't work that well as one club. But like Kansas City, Des Moines, the Twin Cities, Charlotte has a huge club as well.
Iowa,
and so that's unique, where one organization's governing that many courses, where like there's just too many ideas down here to pull that kind of thing off.
Yeah, but when you first started back in Dallas and there wasn't that many courses, was it kind of like that and then it split?
Well, it was kind of not so much that it split. It was already that, like the Irving Club was responsible for getting veterans installed. I think that Hal had something to do with that too. I wish I'd asked him more about that too, because that was just before I started playing. I mean, I was a new player at veterans, but I think that I might have been at the second, if not the third, for sure the third VPO, because that course went in 90 and I started playing in 91 and started playing organized golf pretty much 92-ish. Although we kind of started, once we saw him playing the short course, we started going out there to the weeklies. We're like, what? Short tees? We can play that, and really, we should have never thought that we couldn't, obviously. But so, yeah, it's like I said, there's too many ideas around here that don't want to give, there's not a lot of flexibility. And so it's all a bunch of different clubs. But so there was a veterans club, the Arlington Club, and there was Irving, and then there was the guys at BB Owens in Dallas. So it was pretty much just 3 clubs back then.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I really don't know how many. I mean, like every course could have its own club, kind of. I went without the club at Zebo's, and now there is a club out there too.
Well, it's just gotten so big and so many people that it's just, it's tough, I bet.
Sure.
It was back in the day.
Well, especially like in a lot of places, people had to band together, strengthen numbers, and also cities would look more favorably on more organized and larger, political units or organized units. So
You're exactly right. The
other thing is you need people to be there to do the work, who can speak the bureaucratic language, who can have an administrative mind, who can, take the time to go to meetings. I mean, municipal meetings, who's got the time or the interest for that?
Yeah, who's going to stop playing long enough to do any of that?
Right.
I know. Oh, that's funny.
So let's talk about your PDGA number.
Okay, so back in the day when they didn't have computer system, I always thought my number was right. And so
Man, hold on a second. You went into a tunnel.
I'm going, what? And I started investigating, and then I called the PDGA to figure, and they switched everything out. But it was kind of funny because I always went, 1285. Now it's 1195.
So you started with 1185. I didn't catch all of that.
No, it was 1295, which I always thought it was. But then somehow I signed up again, and it was always 1295, but it's really 1185.
Well, that works out.
Well, it got all worked out.
So what prompted you to get it? What was it? Was there some event that that you got it for, like a world championship? A lot of people say, like for me, for example, I got it so I could go to the amateur world championship in '94. What prompted you to get your number?
I don't know that really anything prompted me, because there started to be tournaments, and then you'd hear about the PDGA, and some other people were getting it, and then I just decided to do it. I mean, you join the Freestyle Players Association, so
Yeah,
you want to promote that, and then you start playing golf, so you want to promote that too.
right.
So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
FPA doesn't keep those kind of records though, do they? I haven't been able, their website seems a little less than stellarly
Yes.
organized. Let's just say.
Correct. I don't even know if I have a number then.
Okay, but you, like, people would have assigned numbers with the FPA.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I don't even know if I really even had a number. I mean, I joined just to be able to join and be a part of something, because you're going to all the, freestyle tournaments. So that's what you do.
Right on.
I know that some of the people we've talked to, in fact, there's a lot of stories of people we talked, especially people with low numbers. They express regret or rue that they could only, they had said spent $15, at that time on a membership instead of whatever, going
Right.
7-Eleven for a cheeseburger or something.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of if I had.
Was there, you don't have any of that going on, do you?
No.
See, like you're number 2.
Yeah.
I think it was you and John Houck are like the only 2 so far that have been like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't got anything like that at all. Like almost everybody has a story of like, man, if I had done it when all my friends did it, or I've heard 2 stories already. We've only had one on the air, but we've heard 2 stories about Ed not being able to let you slide. Like, no, I'm waiting for you to give me the $10. Okay. And one of them's number 60, so that's, I was like, dude, when Snap Conger told me that in Flagstaff earlier this year, and I go, that you're like all of the people that we've had on the show so far have said the same thing in one form or fashion. It wasn't necessarily that Ed wouldn't let him slide, because most of them probably didn't meet Ed, or only met him later on. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. It comes up every time you turn around.
I
He
mean,
was
Stokely
probably he was promoting the sport, and you're gonna join.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like now we're up at the 200,000. So even when I was working at the PDGA office, and the number, I think the top number was just pushing 5 digits, just broke it at 5 digits. Even then I would look, because I was entering all the tournament information, you guys would run a tournament and send the paperwork, and I would just input into the database. And I remember having access to, like, just looking at some of the old number, like, who is that? I wonder what name is that? Looking at these runs. And for me, it was fascinating. I know not everybody's fascinated by the same kind of things, and we all are, but
What's even fascinating, back in the day when you were doing it and you put it on the magazine, there's, a page and a half of tournaments.
The results.
Now you look at it, there's like 40 pages of tournaments.
I know, right? Oh, and the calendar, like, you look at it and you have to scroll through 17 pages just to get out of this week.
Exactly. Which is awesome. Look at the growth.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. And so then, tomorrow, everybody's going to start really watching too, because the world starts tomorrow. So
The world starts tomorrow. You're right.
That's right. So I just saw this thing on my feed, just as a digression. Paul Macbeth has a chance to match Climo's, 10 straight first or second place finishes at the Worlds. Maybe it's
but he's got a lot of seconds in there. There's at least 5 seconds in there. So,
but I mean, no one else has come close to like that many in a row at first.
He's right there. He's in the hunt. I think that Mike Randolph and Stevie Rico could probably rival those in terms of like all the times that they took second or third. If you went to third, now if you're just saying first and second, then that's probably real accurate. But man, I can remember a lot of times where, and if you want to expand it to the top card, to the final card Saturday, Stevie and Randolph have probably appeared as many times as anybody as well. They certainly would get into the conversation if you were going to give it to 3 or the 4.
Definitely.
In my opinion.
So let's, before we get too deep into more disc golf, let's take it back to freestyle. And let's here, Mace, am I shared?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. Oh,
So
hold on
I
a second.
pulled up some
Sorry, dude.
footage here. Okay.
Here we go.
So I found, this is just the first thing that, oh, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, look.
There's a video craze. Ah, look at those glasses
Yeah.
with that little feather duster mustache.
Yeah.
So this is when he's the captain of the Bud Light team, and it said that you were one of the members. Would you go out and do these shows with them?
Yeah. So how the Bud Light team started it was in Kansas City. There was a guy in advertising called David Strandberg, and I met him, and his role was to promote Bud Light. And I came up with this idea is like, let us go into bars and do, promotional shows with all the Bud Light gear on. And we started doing it in Kansas City, and it kind of worked. And then he got a job promoting Bud Light in the Southwest, and that's kind of how we do Padre, Fort Lauderdale, and all the bars and concerts that were during spring break, just like
But
here.
Here's Padre Island in '87. There you go.
Yeah.
There's the Bud Light guys on the stage, and here we're going to pan out, and we're going to see this sea of people here eventually.
Yeah, it's
They said,
probably
oh,
the
maybe not.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. So there was 175,000. Look at that.
Yeah.
And Craze is on the mic in front of all of them.
Yeah.
Craze can, I
He
mean,
probably never felt more at home in his entire life.
exactly. He was phenomenal.
Better
Yeah.
keep this video. We're gonna need it again in a couple weeks, Paul.
You'll definitely need it. But that's kind of how it started. And then I left in '82, and then Craze, I believe, moved out to California and kind of got hooked up with everybody else, with Chipper and Joey, and kind of took it to the next level, basically. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I mean, just sharing the stage with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, that is
Yeah.
crazy with no sense of irony on that one.
Dude.
So,
And if you want to see more video, just ask Craze. He's got a million of them.
well, it is cool to be able to like just go to YouTube and find how much video there is, like stuff that used to be only on people's VHS tapes or dusty Betamax tapes in the basement. Now it's kind of living for all time on the cloud. It's
Right. Betamax
cool.
tapes.
So let's go to the 1982 Frisbee World Championships. You play at Rutgers and you're doing freestyle.
Rutgers.
Neil Adams and Crazy John.
Uh-huh.
You remember that tournament? You remember those days?
I do remember that tournament. That was like one of the highlights.
So how big was that event? How important was it?
Well, it was the World Championships, and for me, it was really big because it's probably the first big event I ever really played in. But it was really exciting because I had my family there too, and I'd never been to Rutgers, and we played well, and everybody was there. It was a nice crowd.
And didn't you win that one?
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell my first sidebar Hal Baby story.
While you're telling us, I'm just going to scroll through. This is the original.
We're in Japan, and this stuff's gonna come up again in a couple weeks when Craze is on too. But me and Brandon and Hal and this guy named Atso and Suzuki or Kawasaki. I can't remember. I don't want to insult him, but Atso is one of the coolest guys. I've met him several different times. So the four of us are playing what's called the Friendship Championship, or is the Friendship Cup. And it's just like a 1-day 2-rounder to kind of warm us up on actually it wasn't even on the course we played. It was on the course around the resort, right?
Around the resort with the monkey.
Yeah, with the monkeys, with all
With
these
the
monkeys
monkeys.
around. All right. So we're playing
Don't
this.
look at the monkeys.
We're playing this round. Yeah, don't look at the monkeys. Don't make eye contact with the monkeys, because then there's going to be a problem. And
Gonna
so
be a problem.
just trust us. Leave them alone. Don't bother the monkeys. Well, so Atsu's super nice guy, and he's very 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 politely and shyly reminiscing with Hal about this Rutgers event, and he goes, yeah, yeah, I went to the World Championship at Rutgers, and Hal goes, yeah, I was there. And the guy goes, yeah, it was pretty amazing. He goes, he goes, you won that, didn't you? And he goes, yeah, I did. And just it was just like a part of the conversation, you know. Like Hal's like, yeah, I was there. That's all I need to tell you. And then he goes, wait, you won that tournament. It's like, yeah, I did, you know. And then we just kept on talking and golfed on, you know. And Atsu ended up winning the friendship championship.
Nice. So that was I know, just looking at the stats, you beat in the golf portion, you beat some pretty important names, especially Canadian names, Kevin Sparkman and Bob Blakely, but you also beat Eric Marks, Rick LeBeau, Doug Cree, and Stork there. How much prior to 82 had you been playing golf at that point? Or was it more, because I know you said you were on the Bud Light Frisbee team up until
Well,
82.
So I moved to Dallas, Oak Lawn area by SMU in 80, 81. And that's when they put the first course in there, and we had the midnight fly, you know. and-
Mock ones at Skyline.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've been playing, I really like playing. And so, you know, I just kind of, you know, I like to do all the sports though too, but the golf was fun. I mean, just like at Rutgers, the DDC, I mean, I don't know if anybody who hasn't played DDC should try it, because it's such a fun game.
Right.
And you know, it doesn't give the respect that it should at all.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like you can still see people freestyle, obviously ultimately you see it everywhere, but
Right.
that's one of those more forgotten ones like Discathon or MTA or Self-Caught Flight or things like that.
Right.
But DDC is those are all individuals. DDC is a team sport, which is more seems
a
to
team
lend itself
sport.
more to more of like a visual spectator performance.
And
wouldn't
it takes a lot, it takes skill to play with your partner to do it right. But you know, yeah, it's that.
Well, in 1982, you were tied with Andy Lehman, Eric Marks, and Michael Conger in DDC world rankings, according to the Whiff Diff
Woo!
records.
Dude.
Top 50 in the world, definitely.
Yeah, there was some good people playing back then.
I mean, for me, it's just interesting to see, obviously, the crossover and people playing all the Frisbee sports who are kind of luminaries in our disc golf world as well.
Mhm.
And you know, talking to what came through the research was there are people out there who are members of the halls of fame in multiple different disc sports, and
I heard that. Yeah.
it'd be nice if we had more, for lack of a better word, cross contamination or cross pollination, maybe is better, of the Frisbee sports, you know.
Well, I don't know if you followed the Whiff Diff, you know, they had last year in California, and the names that were there were just, I mean, that I remember were, you know, legendary, and it's just awesome to see. And I hope next year or whenever they have it again, or in 2 years, I really want to go to it. And Virginia State's I've always wanted to go to.
Right.
Have you ever been to that?
I've never been, but
No,
a pair of Toronto freestylers went down there and they won at Virginia this year. So that's really,
Nice.
and the
I wanna
guys who
play all the-
won, sorry,
No, go ahead.
the guys who won, they organized, it'd been a long time since we've had a freestyle tournament in Toronto. And so they organized a competition they just called it the Toronto Jam. And it was basically just a chance for all free freestylers just to come up and jam together.
And just
for
jam
hours and
together.
hours. Yeah. And it's just up the street from, like, in the park across the street. So of course I was there on a couple of occasions, and it's just, freestyle is just such a wonderful thing to watch, you know?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But then it goes back what you and I were talking about. It's all about the fellowship,
Yeah.
getting together, watching the disc fly, enjoying each other's company, like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So let's shift to your disc golf side, since we've kind of
Yeah,
already talked
so
about how much you started falling in love with the disc golf side. Go ahead. Sorry, Mace.
no worries. We talked about that number. It's 1185. You've been a member since 1987. You've been playing events since 1980. No, not 1987.
Well, this is
No,
according to the PDGA database.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Oh, okay.
So it's
All
probably
right.
right. Yeah.
So you started playing events in 1980, and well, Paul actually says you clearly joined before 87. Having trouble reading this tonight. First event, Central States Regional Championship in Lawrence, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
45 and open, and you took 12.
Your first PDGA. Now that wasn't your first Frisbee tournament, but that was your first PDGA tournament. Is that a
PDGA tournament.
true? Okay.
Yeah.
And so it says here, your first World Masters, first Worlds was 94 as an MPM. You took 38 out of 86. Was that 94 was in
Port Arthur.
Port Arthur, Texas.
Oh yeah, Port Arthur.
Port Arthur.
Yeah, we talked
It
to
was
Hal
hot,
about that last
too.
week. Yeah,
You waited for your first Worlds to go to the hottest place on the planet for Worlds.
And it smelled like gas all weekend.
yeah. That's some people say that sounds like money, but I don't agree with it.
Why?
So what I don't want to say why was there a delay in not going to the Worlds, but what was it about 94 that drew you to the Worlds for your first one?
Probably because friends were going and everybody, that type of thing.
Those were both really well attended by a variety of top players. Like I just kind of stand out looking at the fields. I didn't go to either one, but like looking at those fields where there was a lot of players from a lot of different directions at those two events.
Yeah, and those are the days you're really into it. So you want to go to all the tournaments and stuff, and then you get it in your mind, just like you're going to USDGC, you're planning for a year to go this year, and you just get in your mind, I want to go this year. So you make a plan and you go.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Milestone destination.
And what was it? Was it all that in a bag of chips? Was it exciting?
It was all that in a bag of chips.
Okay.
And a bunch of mosquitoes and
a bunch of mosquitoes. Yeah, it was hot, but what a great experience. And anytime you go to a tournament out around your 4-state or even in your 4-state area, you meet so many people and you develop friendships, and
yeah,
and you develop close friendships. I mean,
like Bruce and Bart.
You know how you got friends you haven't seen for 20 years, just like me and you, and all of a sudden you see each other and it's like, oh, okay, everything's great.
That's
nothing
what
changes.
that's part of that family reunion part of the whole
Yeah.
thing.
So did you meet anyone there that has since become a major player in the fellowship?
I can't remember being there. I got photos of it. Yeah, I can remember, but yeah, that's funny.
It is funny.
So it says your first win was in '94 at Tournament X. Is that it says Columbia MS, but that's Missouri, correct?
Yeah.
Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
Hey, he digs deep, dude.
I try.
You dig deep.
I come to the stats.
All right, so here's another one that you're gonna be surprised by. Your biggest win was the Grateful Disc Super Tour in Fort Collins, and you won, beat 16 players.
Because it was the Grateful Disc. That's why.
Yeah,
There you
right.
go.
Oh, I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that.
So Fort Collins was kind of one of the first places you discovered disc golf. Has that always been kind of a mystical disc golf center for you?
Oh, Colorado's always mystical. I love there. I did Kiss the Sky a couple times, and that was amazing. And just the people there are, it's a beautiful.
Did you know Bill Wright in the freestyle circuit back in the early 80s?
I did.
We want to get him on the show.
Yeah. He's
Nice.
definitely a legend. I mean, that, you know, when you're first starting out, you look to people that you want to emulate and people that you really enjoy watching, you know, Velasquez brothers, you know, Color Radicals. Yeah, it's amazing just to watch.
So
It's-
this next bit that that Paul put in here, it says predominantly left-handed. So, but then there's a quote. Hal Kurz is the righty who can shoot lefty when he wants to. He's a pro master righty and a good advanced lefty. I hate that, and I don't know who said that, but
I can't remember
I'm
who said
surprised
that.
by it because, like, I pretty much only remember you as a lefty, as a golfer.
So this is a funny story. So I am left-handed, but you know, I do stuff right and left-handed. But when I started Frisbee, it was left-handed, but I had to learn how to put spin to righty players. So
Oh,
I do all that. And then while I was playing golf, I'm going, if I can put that much spin on a disc, I can at least learn
for
how to throw it.
sure.
And over the years, I learned how to, you know, throw with my right hand, but I putt and approach with my left hand because I have more accuracy.
Okay.
And I side up with my
Interesting.
right. But I don't pay double when I play in tournaments. People's always say that.
It's funny because we had Chris Sprague on the show last week.
Yeah, last
and,
week.
He also can do both, and I was watching video of him also, funny enough, from 2021, and I caught it before the commentators caught it, but I had to go back and look at the first couple holes that he played, because on the third hole, all of a sudden he's putting with his left, but I think he was doing it inside the circle for more control, more finesse.
Really?
Yeah. Which is, again, it's do one hand at a time anyways, right? So
So would he putt right-handed outside the circle?
That's
Yeah.
what he was saying. He was,
That's what he was
and he
saying.
felt like he was like he was automatic with the left.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
just, and you know, and you know, Chris is pretty cerebral, you know, about everything, and he's
Mhm.
really. I'd forgotten all the times where I've been hanging out at the same place he was hanging out, and like long after the sun went down, he was still digging into somebody's brain about. Now, hold on a second. What do you like? You know, I saw him, you know, do that with a bunch of different players, like the champ with his putter, and you know that whole push button thing. And that's one of the things too. He said on his right-handed he putts like the champ with the push putt and very low spin. On left hand, he's a full-on spin, and he's like, it's hitting the pole. It's hitting. He goes, my putt inside the circle is at the same height the whole way, and it's hitting the pole. And you know, and like he's that confident. You know, I mean, it wasn't just that way on the video. I mean, I've seen him that way. He's really good at doing the clinics too. Really good at that. So on to disc golf in Kansas. KC Wide Open in 1986. You took 7th out of 37, and you tied.
Yeah.
It says both his first name and his last name, but nobody that knows him would call him anything but CD. You tied with CD in that tournament. Like I was like, this is unnecessary. This Dwayne Steiner part, yeah, we don't.
That was
Nobody
more
ever
for
calls him
me.
that except for maybe his wife or the
Dwayne was in
police or the
trouble.
judge.
Dwayne's always been my nemesis.
25 years later in the skins match, he takes the vast amount of skins, plus I believe both pizza skins. But in 1986, you managed to tie him. Was he an obvious legend or figure in the Kansas City world
Yeah.
by then even?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have him on too. Like we could just go and have like a Kansas City month. Like we
That's a
just
great
go.
idea.
We should just like go up there in May or June and just like interview a different person in Kansas City every night for the whole entire month of June.
Just in
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Because I mean, just think about it. Like, okay, here's a great KC story from '96. Me and B are staying in that turd of a hotel down by the KU Med Center, close by Downings and all that.
Yeah.
And when you lived on 95th or whatever, where was that? What street was that you lived on over there?
Back when?
When you lived across from Oh God, no, I can't remember his name. The guy across the street had the lizards and the metal detecting. He works for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was in Brookside.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was in
So
Brookside, 71st.
yeah. So I take me and Paul jump in my truck. I think I had a little Nissan pickup at the time.
Oh.
And we go cruising. We go cruising over to your house on 71st Street. What's the dude's across the name? Long hair.
Michael.
Michael.
Oh.
God, I apologize for not
He just
remembering your name,
retired.
Michael.
He worked for me for 19 years.
Yeah. So anyways, we're driving down Ward Parkway, and Paul's like, dude, what the fuck is this? What is this? He's like looking around like in amazement, and I go, what? Did you think that all of Kansas City was that area that we were staying in down there by that hotel and by Rosedale and all that? And he goes, yeah, I haven't seen anything nice in this fucking town. I was like, well, you're wrong about this, dude. Like, there's probably older mansions in Kansas City than in Toronto, in all honesty, just from the cattle bearing days and stuff. Yeah. But you know, that I'm not slapping Toronto because everybody knows I love TO. But
that's true.
That hotel was
like, he was mind boggled, you know, like, and I was just like, yeah, dude, there's lots of nice places in this town. And I mean, I was bummed when you moved out of that house. I thought that house was one cool spot for sure. But you know, you've had a couple nice houses in your day.
Couple nice houses, yes.
So have you lived in? Are you from Kansas City? Have you lived in Kansas most of your life?
No, I moved to Kansas City when I was 12 years old. I was born in St. Louis. And we moved to Kansas City in 67. Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about the Blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
all of his relatives from St. Louis, all Blues fans.
All Blues
all
fans.
Of them. I met them all right after the Blues won the cup too. Like pretty much all of them.
Good time to meet them. So, okay. But you moved to KC in 67 and you pretty well lived there. You said you lived in Dallas for a little while, right?
Dallas for a little while, you know, and then I lived in Arizona for, 4 years. So,
but in terms of your Frisbee life and career kind of merging, you are also not just you are literally a Kansas City legend. You've done
fiber of the fabric of Kansas City disc golf.
Oh, thank you.
So without a doubt, man. I mean, nobody would deny that.
Yeah. But talk about that team. Talk about the pool of people that you had around you that were there either before you or during the time when you've been active with the club.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you have a small group of people, which was CD, Ace, Craze, Ultimate players. There's freestyle players, and it was just, I mean, just like you guys, you go to any course, there's 10 cars and you know everybody, right?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a great little community, and I think Ace and Tom were the catalysts of getting the club going and everything like that. And it's, yeah, you look at it today and you go to a course and you don't even know anybody, which is great to see because of the progression of the sport. I mean, the sport is just,
I can even take it further than that. You can go to a tournament and there'll be 2,000-3,000 people spectating. And you got to go by like a third of them before you find somebody you know. You know what I mean? That's really cool too. I had a feeling that would happen, but I really didn't think it was going to happen in my lifetime. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, you watch the Disc Golf Network now and you watch these tournaments and it's just amazing the crowd that you see. It's
without a doubt.
It's like happening.
It is happening.
It was such an obscure hermetic thing. We were like part of a fraternity of traveling mendicants, and all of a sudden now everyone's spouting the gospel. It's
right.
Also, it's kind of reduced the cool factor in a way too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, but at the same time, there's a lot of rec players that are playing now. They're not going to tournaments. I mean, they just enjoy playing, which is really, exciting to see.
Without a doubt.
But it
So
limits you to what course you want to go to because there's a couple courses in Kansas City that you go
You're
and
just not gonna get on.
you're not going there because there's so
Did
many
you, did,
people.
did you guys, for that skins match, did you have to kind of clear out Swope for the day to reserve all that?
No, that's a kind of a sore subject. Swope was this gorgeous course, first in Kansas City, and what they decided to do was build a dog, and cat, not sanctuary, but where they, people,
Dog park, dog run thing.
well, dog run and animal hospital, which is awesome.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong, that's what it's supposed to be, and adoption place. But
Okay.
they moved Swope over in the middle of this field, and it's
It's got a lot of work to do. They got a lot of trees to plant.
a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Got to plant a lot of trees, but and people aren't playing it just because it's just rough. I mean, they could
Yeah.
do a lot with it, and they gave the club the land to do something. So hopefully, eventually, something will get done.
I mean, from what Jack Lowe was saying on that video, there's over 50 courses in the greater KC area. So the range of choice is
The range, exactly. And Jack Lowe is responsible for a lot of them. He's the guy that went to the meetings and got donation of money and talked to the parks people.
Yeah, he's not scared to talk in front of the whole class.
No, he's not afraid to talk to the whole class. Exactly.
Maybe
Yeah,
the whole school, really. You could get
I
up
mean-
there on that stage at Padre with Craze for sure. I mean, I could too, but
Yeah.
but it'd just be like, I'd be like, what? You need me to move that amp? Okay, I'll be right back.
Oh man.
well, now we can't leave Kansas without talking about the Frizz.
The Frizz.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's
Frizz?
where I met you at.
That's where I met you at. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. That's where our friendship started. And a bunch of others. Holy cow. I mean, like that
A bunch of others.
was
It was
an anomaly, I mean,
So why don't you explain for the few out there who might be passing through who have no idea what the heck the Frizz is. Do your best to describe it to us.
okay. The Frizz is a camping weekend Frisbee golf tournament, non-sanctioned. Everybody communes on this one area. They put up 3 courses and
4.
4 courses. And it's, there's a lot of partying involved, and it's just a
Shenanigans.
shenanigans, fellowship, and you meet a lot of people, like May said, and it's really fun. And it's all about the love of Frisbee and everybody getting together. And
There's really not too many events that I know of that can boast someone getting a DUI in a golf cart. And that's another thing that's happened at October Frizz.
And that's a point.
And
That's what I was going to say. It's officially called the October Frizz.
right. And the World Mini Guts Championship they have.
Oh, right.
Remember?
How could I forget that? Yeah, great times. I mean, like, I remember we used to get there on Wednesday nights to mark territory,
Right.
Every year you're talking about getting to town one day earlier, and just so you could get the right spot. And oh man, lots of good times in the 90s.
Right. And it's one of those tournaments that it's like one year we went, I didn't want to play or and so we decided to, okay, Bart, you play front 9, I'll play back 9, or we'll play every other hole,
But anything goes at Frizz. I showed up.
Tee off at 10 and you tee off at 10:15, it's
this
just
happened to me.
loose.
I flew in. I missed the first 3 holes. I got a gig. I was planning on leaving. This was the year I was going to leave on Tuesday. And I was going to get up there on Tuesday and mark territory. And on Monday at lunch, this guy called me up and goes, dude, what are you doing this weekend? I go, well, I'm leaving town tomorrow and I'm going to Kansas and I'm going to go to this party tournament all weekend. He goes, dude, I need you to go to Toronto for me tomorrow. And I was like, I don't know about all that. I go, can you get me Wichita Friday, first thing Saturday morning? And he goes, well, how early? And I go, as early as possible. And he goes, done. And I was like, you don't even need to check on it. And he goes, let me make sure it's possible. I'll call you right back. And so I flew to Toronto and did Benny Hinn. This is before I knew you too, Paul. And like I called somebody on the course directory and it was a really nasty gray day, probably raining and spitting. And the guy goes, yeah, I don't think you're going to find anybody that wants to go over there to the island with you today. So I could have played the island before I met you, but that didn't happen. But I worked the Benny Hinn gig at Maple Leaf Gardens. One of our truck drivers bent a light pole, one of the old ones too, one of the antiques. So there was a dude from the city that came down and anyways, flew out first class, first thing Saturday morning into Wichita out of Toronto. And I got there and missed 3 holes and I got to play the 3 holes makeup. My card, somebody on my card had to go with me and that was approved by Harvey. I called that was what I agreed. And I called Harvey to make sure that I could get in and still do that. And I called him back. I go, yeah, I'll do
it. Well, were you there the year that they always have a most fun wins, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So one year, Beckett Cardiff,
yeah,
brother, plays nude 18 holes because he wants to get most fun wins.
Well, then he fell asleep in an anthill and he fell in the fire. Yeah. Right. Oh yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. They gave you a toilet seat, the seat in the lid that's painted with glow paint. And Beckett hung it around his neck and wore it like a necklace.
Shenanigans.
So I have a quick frizz story. My only time I went there, somehow I guess the Saturday afternoon was at the short course, and I piled up a lot of birdies and played way above my zone. I found myself Sunday morning getting to the tee, and of course we all have golf carts, so I rolled up on there, and I have to play with these 2 Okies. I can't remember who they were, and then Crazy rolls up. And he looks like somebody rolled a golf cart over his face. He's just looking so worse for
I don't think there was ever a better tournament for Crazy John Brooks.
Right.
But like there was never a more appropriate event for Crazy John Brooks than the Oktoberfest. I mean, we're going to talk about this again in 2 weeks when he's on, without a doubt.
I'm going to remind him of this story. But so he rolls up, and it's like, I think just when they're yelling 2 minutes, he rolls up finally. And I don't see. I know that normally he, like the historically legendary, he's got a Viper, a Rock, and an Aviar, his Mini, and a towel. But I don't even see those. Like, dude, are you not? Where's your stuff? So when the guy reads out, okay, who's up next? Oh, Crazy, you're up. He lifts up the cooler, the lid of the cooler that's on the back of the golf cart, and it's just melted water. The ice is all melted, and his discs are floating around in there, bobbing around with a couple extra beer cans. He takes a beer, shotguns it, takes his driver, shakes it off, and then parks the hole.
Parks the hole.
Oh, dude. So I pulled out my Condor immediately, and I'm like, can you sign this, please? So when was your first time at the Frizz?
Oh, that's a great question. Ace, when was your first?
Mine was 94. I won most fun at Okie Doubles, and part of that was Harvey was staying at oh man, I can't, Terrell Johnson's house where we were staying, and Harvey said, I'll throw in a Frizz entry when I won the entry to won the most fun award at Okie Doubles.
Nice.
Do you know when the Frizz first started?
I have no idea.
So I'm thinking, you said 94, I'm thinking like 88, 89, maybe.
Right.
I didn't go
back in the legendary days.
Yeah, but I didn't go to the first like 3 years, and then I went for like 20 straight. I mean, it was a big thing.
So I recall one of the courses was like the kind of the big course, but one of the holes you had to throw over the river.
Over the river.
And get a ferry. Get a ferry.
Was that a standard feature?
That's a standard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they always dressed up. They was always do something more to that boat too. There was always like 1 year there was musical instruments and stuff, and so like everybody was supposed to
Play
grab,
it
grab a
across.
drum or a guitar or something and make a contribution during the ride. And yeah, it's
Right.
I
dude.
think they had drums out there when I played, and it was just like, again, I took so much in, and it took a while for it to gestate. But in 2005, me and Kelly, we started the Ontario Disc Tour in homage to this idea of just like, let's just have a fun tournament. I mean, we're still playing, like, we're playing some good golf courses, and we're throwing some hot shots. We're not sacrificing on that, but why can't we do it with a beer in the hand and maybe some fumigatable hanging off the lip or something? You know what I mean? Like, we're adults and we're having a good time.
Oh man. And
So
Brandon,
maybe we gotta
Brandon,
go up. We gotta go up.
What?
Yeah, you do.
We gotta go up and yeah.
make a
So-
revisit. The only problem, my only problem is that usually it conflicts with USCGC.
Yeah, we have our
That's the reason. That's
we
why
produced
I've
the
missed
tour
the
down to
last.
one event.
That's what reason why I've missed 23 of the last 24 is USDGC.
I get that's understandable. Yeah, I get it.
But that would be and is the Frizz is still rocking every year?
It is.
Oh, I don't know
It
how
is.
Harvey does it. Is it still
Well,
Harvey doing it?
He has passed it on to, I think Russ Burns did it last year or does,
Oh, nice.
part of it. Yeah.
Russ is awesome.
Russ is awesome. Yeah.
And
So,
Yeah.
like,
Okay. So here's a great Harvey. Here's a great Frizz story. So Harvey Barger has Clint and Mitch staying at his house, and Clint, like Clint's sick. Clint's sleeping on the couch, right? And he wakes up in the middle of the night and he just decides to go out the front door and piss in the bushes, right?
remember
Well,
this story.
So he goes back into the house and he's looking at the couch and he can't find the blanket that he was sleeping under. And so he goes into the master bedroom of this house and he swipes a blanket off the bed and he goes back and lays down on the couch and goes back to sleep. And it ain't Harvey's house. It's Harvey's neighbor's house. And dude wakes up the next morning and finds Clint sleeping on his couch under his blanket and goes, "You must be one of Harvey's friends." That is the kind of tournament October Frizz is.
Well, you heard the time that Clint put a sword through his foot.
Oh, no, I didn't hear about that.
no.
Well, the whole week he's carrying this big sword around and stuff like that. And it was really late at night. And Mitch wanted him to go. And he goes, "I'm not going anywhere." And was going to go into the ground, but went into his foot. And so obviously he didn't play the next day, but
So one of the things that I recall was they I guess it was sponsored by the local Budweiser distributor or somebody, and they had like a Bud wagon.
Oh yeah, the beer
that they
trailer.
would just like bring up, and it was, I don't know, like a
10 or 12
small
kegs.
semi trailer. It was huge with a bunch of different taps.
Oh, it
and
wasn't
everything.
that big. It just seemed like it. No,
seemed
it was
like
like a 4-tapper, but it was like 10 or 12 kegs. So
But the same 4 people were at that 4-tapper. Like I
all
remember
night
going,
long.
yeah, I remember going to take a leak at like 3 in the morning. I'm like, gee, there's still like 19 people drinking there. Oh my, it was
Or the
something.
guy that blasts the music the whole night long, and you're like, "Shut up already."
I remember one year when local girl named Rose Edwards from here went, and Rose Edwards had a 67 Camaro when she graduated high school. She was already drag racing it and stuff. Like she knew what to do in a fast car. And Rose was driving the golf cart, and Clint again was standing on the back, hanging on, pants around his ankles, and she was on 2 wheels sliding in the mud. Clint's just like free balling it, like totally not even commando, like fully half naked and just hanging off, like all he could do to hang on still. And just, I mean, yeah, it's that kind of party.
Yeah, and the Friday night doubles, midnight doubles is kind of crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys are great to talk to.
The frizz turns out to be a legend, or it's an endurance contest. Is really kind of what it
It's
is.
an
No, it's a
endurance.
party that a disc golf tournament interrupts.
That's my favorite way of explaining really cool tournaments.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And you need a vacation from the vacation when you get home.
Yeah, I got to take a day to recover.
So
You
that being in southern Kansas at that time of year, was there a possibility of rain? Was that a frequent thing, or was it usually dry? Because nothing's
Oh,
worse than
dude,
camping in the rain.
97, 97, water was running down our legs and filling up our Gore-Tex socks.
So I had a 66 bus that I brought down there, and it had a tent that hooks onto the bus, and it rained so hard. It was one of those things where you look outside and you're going, nah, I don't think I'm gonna play. It was that bad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. And it was like, okay, so 97 Frizz, 99 USDGC. Those are the two most rain. That is absolutely both the times I played in the most rain. And both times I was like, where's the lightning? Come on. I mean, like, how could it be raining this hard and there's no lightning? And I'm not kidding you. We were in the bathroom underneath the grandstand. This whole place is the county fairgrounds that this tournament takes place on. And we're in the grandstand bathroom and we're using the hand dryer, blow dryer on the wall to dry our Gore-Tex socks, our clothes. Like man, I've never played any more rain than that. Those two for sure. I was just thinking at some point it's got a lightning, right? And
was wet.
it was horrible. It was horrible.
But one of the worst things about that experience having to camp is packing up the next day.
Oh man,
when
you just
everything's
wad
wet,
that tin up and throw it in the car.
throw it in the car, and then you kind of forget about it for 2 days, and then it smells like
That
you
smells
go for
great.
Oh
the
yeah.
homeless shelter somewhere. It's just awful.
There's not much that's worse than camping if you get like 3 inches of rain overnight. And then
See,
it keeps raining till lunch.
on the OD tour, we would always, I think we could count the number of weekends we've had without any rain whatsoever. It would happen that those particular weekends got blessed with it. And I mean, it does suck having to camp in the rain and sweat through it all, but going through things like that, or going through the worlds when it's the hotter than the devil's armpit, those are the bonding experiences, and that's where the
Oh,
fellowship
I got
really-
introduced to a new term recently.
Yeah.
The devil's butthole. Just let that one stew for a little bit. People were
Yeah,
talking about around
stew.
here, and it's very, very appropriate.
So hey, before we leave Kansas, I just want to one thing we haven't talked about yet, but is the Kansas Disc Sports Scholarship Foundation. Talk to us about what that's all about.
It's started from Bill Paulson, and it's to raise money during the year. And but how you're doing, what you play to disc sports is, and we vote on it and pick. Well, this year we picked 3 different people and gave them each a chunk of the money that they had raised,
Nice.
which is really neat. Yeah. And it's mostly high school people, maybe freshmen in college. And we encourage more people to fill out forms to see if they can get scholarships.
And what's the parameters? Do you have to be going to school in Kansas City?
Basically,
Okay.
yes.
And is it for at high school level or for university level?
It's for
college level?
university level. Exactly. Yeah, and it's neat to be a part of. Absolutely. They asked me
Nice.
to be on the board, and I said for sure I'd love to do this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great accomplishment, and from the very first guest we had on here, Joe Rotan, the motto, his motto, and it's not just his motto, but the one that he really likes to repeat is make it better, leave it better than you found it.
Leave it better than you found it.
And
I like
that I think all of the really true people in the game, people who are kind of willingly or unconsciously leaving a legacy, this is certainly up there in terms of points of importance to the continuity of the sport, contribution to the sport. And I mean, in the same way that Gannon Burr came out of Iowa to take the USDUC is the youngest ever. Maybe someone's going to take this scholarship and it's going to change Kansas City disc golf forever. You never know. It's
You never know.
the wise man plants a tree that he knows he's never going to sit in the shade of, you know?
Well put. Well put.
So
I like that.
let's shift from there to class of 22, Kansas Flying Disc Association Hall of Fame with Tavish, who we're going to have on Thursday, Pete
Mhm.
Cashin, Eric McCabe, Bill Paulson, who started the scholarship fund,
Right.
Dennis Maschholtz, and the KU Horizontals and Betties. How did you? I know Tavish kind of choked up and teared a little. I saw her acceptance speech. How did you do? How was your? I didn't see any video on your acceptance speech. How was yours?
Nervous.
Okay.
No, but it came off good. It was good. I mean, it was short and sweet. You know, some people can talk and talk forever, and you're about, okay, it's time to get off, you know, but I said what I had to say, and it was very fulfilling, and I enjoyed it. It was great to be a part of. You know, Rich Smith had the idea to do this, and they're going to do it every other year. So this year is a new class is going to be coming in, or next year the new class is going to be coming in.
And who
Nice.
are you going to have some kind of say in the voting of who's in the next class?
I hope so.
Okay.
I want to. So Eric McCabe, you know, talked about me and then introduced me. So I would like to do that for somebody else.
Nice.
You know, the pay it forward thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. Eric's a great guy too, and it was nice to see that he won the FB40, this third division. He won his third division in the wide open this weekend. So
I know.
that's pretty cool. And I was there. I was there when he won advanced at Swope. At Rose Waterworks is where it concluded. I remember seeing him and Brandon were really tight back then as well.
Yeah, and LaRon did well too, and it was nice to see him do well because
Yeah, definitely. He's had a tough go.
he had, but you know, he was the one that kind of took Eric under his wing back in the day when Eric was first starting, and that was pretty neat to see.
Yeah, right on.
Mhm.
Would you have anybody that you would want to recommend to the Hall of Fame for the next class?
Oh, you're putting
Kansas.
me on the spot now.
Okay, I just wonder. If nothing shakes loose, I don't want
I
to.
don't know. I can think of. I give me a minute. I can think of
Okay.
it.
Man, you can make a list.
Just like May said, there's a lot of people in Kansas that have been around for a long time and have done a lot of stuff for disc sports. So it would be pretty easy to find the next class.
Yeah, shoot.
It is
Just
really
like
cool. that
you
it's-
just go like this, and you spin around and then spin around in a circle, and then stop and go. Oh yeah,
Right.
that's pretty safe to
tells
assume
you.
you're going to find somebody.
But it
Well-
is cool that it's the Flying Disc Association, not just the Disc Golf Hall of Fame, which a lot of other states have. But you know, this
Right.
is specifically what we're talking, amplifying the fellowship in that way too.
Exactly. Yeah. Man.
So-
Well,
sorry,
dude, you
Mace,
brought a lot of people out tonight. We got Randolph stopped by,
Hey,
Barry Schultz, Jeff Holmberg, Scuba Steve, Ken Franks, Dale Himmeline, Mike Davis, Liz Acosta Pearson, the girl with a name so big she needed two, or a mouth so big she needed two names to cover it. I know about this now. Anyways, Mike Davis again, Kim Franks again. Friend of mine from the entertainment business, Mark Carlisle, McCabe stopped by, John Chapman, Brad Bishop, Fred Smith, John Finch,
Nice.
John McDaniel, Myron Clay, Roger Kanzler, Chris Hill. Dude, you had a lot of people. We got Sprague, Chris Ellis, Chris Denderant, Steve Hoff, Chad Garrison, Hawk Ewart Jones, Jeff Harper, Earl Weaver, Scott Riley. Oh man, Tim Scanlon.
Name.
Dude, you're drawing them big
look at
time.
that. They're all coming out to see the baby
Otto.
driver.
Oh, and Liz is telling me to shut up, so she's actually paying attention. Awesome. Thanks for everybody for stopping by for sure. I mean, we're not done, but I just could not, mention that it's really, man, it's really cool that obviously what we're doing is part of it, but also the guests that we bringing on. And you got a really great cross section of old friends' names popping up on my Facebook. So
Old friends' names.
that's
Much love to everybody.
Nice, nice.
definitely bad ass.
So let's shift into the 20 question section, and we can take little time or as much time as you want on these. You can fire off a one-word answer or go for a whole paragraph or a story. But let's start with your favorite Frisbee sport memory of all the Frisbee sports you've played. If you could just take one and just say, man, that was just some golden living right there.
Comes back was a 15 MTA in Wichita.
Wow.
That was, I mean, there's been so many, but I always come back to that, which was pretty amazing.
Was that part of an overall tournament or something?
Yeah, it was in Wichita.
Cool.
It was, yeah, it was great. Aside from the freestyle and the shows and everything like that, and the traveling, yeah, that was, you wouldn't think that was it, but I always think about that for some reason.
15
That's
seconds
awesome,
is
man.
huge.
Well, and there's so many different things you could pin it on, and that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite Frisbee event?
October freeze.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Year after year it delivers. for
That's at the
sure.
top of a lot of people's lists. There's no two ways about it.
Well, because I probably went to that more than anything, it's, yeah. And the wide open is, gone year after year for sure.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
interesting
And,
thing is,
and Sandy Point when we had our
I
team.
figured that was going to come up at some point. That dude, it's been like 10 years since we did that last one,
I know.
and there was several years before that for the last one. So yeah, that was excellent. That was such a good time. Me, you, and Ken riding up and back, and then
Right?
that. Oh man, yeah, that event's something else.
It's a magical
Point
place.
is, in the same way that people go to the memorial to start the year because it's warm down there, people go to Sandy Point in the middle of summer because it's nice. And
The end of
would
summer,
say-
actually, they either
The end of
start it or
summer.
end it. They bookend it. They'll have an event this weekend, and they'll have an event at the end of the. Usually, they'll have an event at the end of the year. And the team tournament was the start, and then the Northwoods Open was the finish.
In the Northwoods, right?
Yeah, that was, man. I mean, we could talk a lot about that too.
We got
Without a doubt, we could talk a lot about that too.
Well, you might have already answered this one as well, but favorite disc golf destination. And it doesn't have to be for a tournament.
for a tournament. Kiss the
Yeah.
Sky was amazing. I always
right.
love that course. Yeah, absolutely. Sandy Point was a great place.
Yeah, it's definitely right up there, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, on your all-time dream disc golf card, who are the three other players going to be?
Oh man,
This is going to be really hard.
that's a good one. My all-time, just my homies, I think
I bet I know what it is. I know two of them right off the top.
who
Bart, Deuce.
and you two. I'd love to play with you
Well,
two.
that's fine, but we'll do it.
We'll do it
Okay,
for sure.
we got
Now
a
we can-
sevensome.
Now we can play Wolf.
Yeah, you're going to have to get Tab in there too.
Okay, so let's narrow the parameters down a bit. Favorite, or if you could choose your ideal dream team for the co-op for freestyle, who would the two people be?
Well, I can't even play anymore now, but my
Yeah,
favorite
but if it was fantasy draft, if you could just go back in
fantasy
time.
draft. Oh, wow, fantasy draft. Doug Brannigan. I'd go Joey, Chipper. How many do I get? One or two or
As
three?
many as you want. Let's expand it.
Joey,
Chipper,
Chipper,
Joey.
Praise, yeah, and Bill. Yeah, from
Nice.
back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, would you wear your socks all the way up to the knee as well?
No, my leg warmers, definitely.
Of course. What was your favorite place to jam?
In Kansas City, at the fountain on the plaza. We used to
Oh,
walk to
nice.
that. Yeah,
Nice.
that was because our first name was the Fountain Town Jammers, and it was right next to the fountain.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
That's the other thing is that freestyle you can do in these urban environments and small little restricted spaces that you can't with most other disc sports is and you can do it well and accurately, you know.
what's funny is you look at the YouTube videos now, and there's guys jamming themselves in their garage, and just practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, during the first couple lockdowns, Juliana was posting almost daily her
Oh,
voyage
yeah.
towards, perfecting body rolls and
All
guiders
of
and
it.
everything like that. And that was
Right.
always in her, I don't know, bedroom or living room or wherever.
Mm,
Okay, so favorite freestyler of all time. If you had one person that you'd want to look at and just watch them go.
Jens,
Okay.
Velasquez brothers for sure. Erwin. Yeah,
That's interesting because when we asked John Hoke who his dream co-op team would be, he said the Velasquez brothers.
yeah, they before I saw them, I saw Chow Rotman in Minnesota, and he kind of and Cray Van Sickle, obviously. Yeah.
Nice.
But I got to tour with the Velasquez and the Bud Light and Padre. They came down for a week with us. That was great.
Wow.
Just to watch.
Just to be like whisked around like superstars playing with a frisbee. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Nice. All right, so let's talk sports teams. What college teams do you pull for? Or what's your college
For
team?
what sport?
Basketball,
You tell us.
KU, obviously.
football.
College football, and I'm not big on.
All right. What
So
of
what-
NFL? We know who.
Yeah, jeez.
NBA?
NBA,
I'm not an NBAer.
MLB, the Royals. Okay, so look, before we get out of here, since you brought up the Royals, last time I went to town, I called Hal up and I said, "Hey, dude, I'm flying up. I'm gonna go see the Royals game." And I can't remember. I think I had something else to do. But you go, hey, I go, hey, we were like talking on the phone. I was here and you were there.
Right.
And you go, and I go, hey, there's a car show. There's a car show for the Royals game on Saturday. And you go, all right, I'm gonna enter the bus. I'll take care of that. I'll get tickets and I'm entering the bus and blah, 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 blah. So this is the 67, right? So we're driving back streets all the way, through East Kansas City, through the hood of the hood, right? And like it did not matter that we were in the hood. Every light that we pulled up to, someone either pulled up and was like, dude, that's badass, or dude, you want to sell it? And I mean, like every light that we stopped at, and we probably stopped at 10 at least. And then like these guys, like this one dude, he was like, I just couldn't see it, and he was like, you want to sell that thing? And I was like, I just started laughing every time because I'm sitting in the passenger seat. They pull up beside me and they go, you want to sell it? And I go, he's not going to say yes, bro. It's just not going to happen.
Move on.
And so, so then we went to then we took it to the car show. And that was my only car show experience from an exhibitor standpoint. And it was so cool to have so many people came up and, hey man, my dad had one of these, and the stories, it's just amazing. And then, the other guys that are close by, and you hear the stories about their cars and the people that identify with those cars too. It was amazing. That was such a good trip.
It was fun.
Absolutely. So the Royals, obviously, do you got a hockey team?
Blues.
Oh,
I was born in St. Louis. What can I say?
What about soccer team? KC Sporting?
Casey Sporting, yeah. But everybody's on Messi Mania now.
Oh, yeah, whatever. That's
Yeah,
good for them.
Well,
Good
remember when Beckham first came to the LA Galaxy? He was the same kind of thing.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah,
Rejuvenated
he
the kind
cashed
of
his
modern
checks just like Beckham
franchise.
did.
Exactly.
Okay, so favorite sport to watch? You're sitting there, you're vegging out, you're whatever, Saturday evening, Sunday
Favorite
day.
sport, football. But you know what I watched? Yeah, since I was a gymnast, I watched in San Jose over the last weekend. They had the women's and men's gymnastics championships, which was just awesome to watch.
Sure.
Right
Yeah,
on.
they're
I love watching any sport, really.
other than just sports, what's your favorite sport to play as a participant?
As a participant, I like ball golf, obviously. Yeah, and take a pickleball.
Ah,
Have you tried it?
well,
Not
you're your
yet.
senior grandmaster. You have to be a pickleball
You
player
have to
now,
be a
don't you?
pickleballer.
It is
That's
pretty
fun.
amazing to see like the spread all of a sudden. Like there
Oh,
are
it's going
rinks
crazy.
in here in Toronto that are, the ice is off of them by mid-April, and they're taken over by these hordes of yoga panted, blue rinse set. Like, wow, it's huge. I didn't realize.
It
They're
is.
playing pickleball on bare ice rinks.
Yeah, just the concrete floors.
Yeah.
Nice.
outdoor ones,
That's
yeah.
cool. It's good secondary use.
Yeah, totally.
All that
But
shit's going in the closet come September, though.
Well,
Maybe
got the
October.
climate change, which even in
Yeah.
the middle of November,
Maybe
it's still
November.
beautiful up here.
Maybe November, exactly. But really, if I have any spare time, I mean, what I really like to go out and play is disc.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of a weaker question. So we've been rotating some of them out of there.
it's
and
okay.
that one might not make the cut for the next
Out of
one.
the lineup.
So listen, Desert Island. You're going for the fantasy Desert Island. What are you taking with you? You're taking books, you're taking movies, are you taking any kind of sporting equipment?
I gotta take sporting equipment, Desert Island. How long am I gonna be there? You gotta take
Well,
a
I mean,
basket.
you could probably
Until
beat the
you're
15-second MTA, that's for sure.
No, you gotta take a basket and a bunch of discs for sure. And a tent. And a bunch of food.
So yeah, right. All right. Speaking of food, on your best birthday, what meal are you gonna have?
Chicken spadini.
Chicken spadini.
Yeah, I know. And the only reason I say that is because I've been like itching for it for a couple months now, and every time I think about it, chicken spadini, I gotta get some.
Itching for chicken, I love it. Okay, morning coffee, how do you take it?
A black with a little bit of sugar.
Nice, can't go wrong with that.
Strong.
Nice.
Favorite cocktail still Tanqueray tonic.
No, Hendrix and tonic with a cucumber.
Hendrix,
Nice.
very good.
Yeah.
That's my wife's
Or
favorite.
Monkey
too.
47. I really like Monkey 47.
Does that have the cucumber twist on it too, or is that?
Yeah, cucumber twist. You can't put a cucumber with Tanqueray because you have to use a lime, but with Hendrix, it's just got a neat little flair to it.
Totally.
Are you a
Interesting.
gin- You a gin man?
You know what? I'm kind of almost anything, man. Like
Okay.
honestly, just certain liquors like Fireball, I'm not into that. But like if someone cracks it and says we're doing shots, I'm like, yes, what? Someone call my
Okay,
name?
sign me up.
It's certainly not what my doctor
He's
wants to hear.
Canadian. Are you kidding me? What kind of question is that?
Right. Yeah, that is a stupid question.
He's from the land
Okay,
of team drinking.
We're going to talk about travel outside of disc golf. What's your favorite American state or American destination? If you could go back to.
American destination state, Colorado. I love any place that's got disc golf. I'm in.
Okay.
And then winter sports don't suck either.
Winter sports don't suck either.
All right. So what about international destination or a bucket list of your international destination? Someplace you want to go bad or you really love to go?
Well, we did the Japan together. I'd
That was
like to-
awesome. That
It
was
was
epic.
awesome. Guys are putting together a trip to go to Thailand to play
Who guys?
golf. Pete and Bruce
When is this?
Wisby. I'll let you know.
Yeah, because I might be interested. That was man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
probably-
so we got so drunk the last 2 nights, Brandon and I both, with Sam and Komiko, among other people, but primarily with Sam and Komiko doing karaoke. And the last night, like I remember looking at the catalog and I was told that I picked songs and sang, but I don't remember any of that. And I also was told that Brandon and Sam are standing on opposite sides of this tree that was about 4.5 foot tall, and then all of a sudden Brandon fell over it like sideways, which I'm pretty sure I was already gone to bed by then. But if Pete Cashin hadn't woken us up, both of us up twice that last morning, we wouldn't have made it to the bullet train to see Brandon miss the bullet train as the doors closed in front of him.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And can you, yeah, on the bullet train, that was funny because all of us, I'm with these guys that are 6 foot with all our luggage. And, usually in Japan, they're my size, little.
Yeah,
people.
you're the only person whose seats fit on every ride.
Right. And then we all just pile in, and we pile in first class. We don't know where we're going, right? So we just sit down.
We're following Pete and Dan.
Right. And the guy comes around and you guys gotta go in the back.
Oh yeah, because we didn't have reserved seats.
We didn't have reserved seats.
We were general admission.
You're correct.
So I went to go visit a friend of mine was teaching English in Tokyo in the mid to late 90s, and I went to go visit her in 97. And I knew that Sam was there, and I'm just geeking out on all the stats and early heroes. So I'd never met him before, but somehow I called him and he said, "Oh, you got to come play this tournament." So I meet at the train station platform in Tokyo with there's 12 Tokyo golfers, and Sam was going to meet us there. So I'm alone, the only European, North American, and they don't really speak any English, and of course I don't speak any Japan other than 3 words.
Right.
So I discovered there was a vending machine that sold beer on the train. So beer was the universal language, and I would just keep going down to the end of the aisle and pumping. I didn't even know how much the coins were. I could be spending $20 a beer. I didn't care. I was just pumping it out. I would come with these, and I trundle back with an armful of beer, and I made these Japanese players drink all night. It wasn't a bullet train on the way down there. It was like an overnight train. And so I made them stay up with me and drink all night long. And they were too nice to say no. They got to go to sleep. I don't know if I'll ever get.
Yeah, that was it, man. That was such an epic trip.
Okay,
Such
so
an epic trip.
we're gonna twist into music right now, and I probably got the answer to this, but favorite musical genre?
Jam band and Bob Marley, reggae for sure.
Sweet.
Well, okay, so what was your favorite Dead show?
All of them.
Oh, there you go.
So one of my first friends in disc golf, this guy Skio, he was a huge Dead, and he always, and especially back then, he had the tapes. That was the big currency.
Yeah, you had the
amongst-
tapes.
You had to have the
Exactly.
master tapes, and he always had Boston '78, or I can't even remember. I just remember Boston, I think, was one of the sites of some really legendary shows. But for you, if you could travel back in time to go to any particular one show where they were ripping that night, is there one that stands out in your mind?
Well, any time my first show was 79, but I love 82 year.
Okay.
The year 81 and 82 is my favorite. What particular show?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We need
Exactly.
you to pinpoint that. You can't remember?
I can't. Now I can't remember. So this is pretty cool. So a friend of mine during the pandemic, he's a lawyer. He works from home. He goes, "I'm going to listen to every Dead show because you can get on re-listen." So he started from the very first show, and he texted me the other day. He's got 30 shows left, and he's done. Isn't that
Wow.
amazing?
That's amazing.
That's a lot of listening.
That's a
What is
lot
that,
of listening.
30 years of shows?
Yeah, 69 and 95.
Well, but I mean, they weren't playing. They weren't playing even probably more than 200 shows a year, even in their heyday.
Right.
I mean, most of those Those guys that get to about 150 to 200 shows on even on, you know, even in their youth, and they're like, all right, I got to get the hell away from all of y'all.
Yeah.
Right.
All y'all go that way, and I'm going this way.
Okay, so what's your most favorite music venue? Your place that you want to go to see bands? And I'm not a big live music fan, but if I was, it would seem to me like Red Rocks would be
Red
the place I'd
Rocks.
want to go. Okay.
It's just magical.
It's honestly, I don't know how. The only reason that is even a venue is because they did it in the late 30s at the end of the Depression and everything like that.
Right.
And
It's a park.
there's absolutely no way that they'd let anybody do anything like that again in that kind of a spot, probably ever. They'd be like, are you kidding me? There's no chance you're going to do that here.
Right.
You know, because I mean, it's like two ship rocks, like equally giant and great, and then a big giant rock behind the stage. And I mean, it's perfect. It was meant to be. There's no two ways about it. And then you see the thing that's really amazing about that place is if you go, you've got to go through the museum underneath the seats. It's where the bathroom is. And
Right.
if you go up to the top, you go down through the inside and you go into the bathroom, and the history of the place is on the wall, like all the lineups from every year. And then there's this one area where it talks about the concept. Then the concept came from somewhere in Greece, I think, or wherever Shakespeare's one of Shakespeare's most prominent places was. That was one of the thing that was the model for him. He went over and he saw this amphitheater where a whole lot of Shakespearean history took place, and he goes, we could do that at Red Rocks. We could set that exact thing up at Red Rocks. And if you look at that venue and you look at the stage, there's an ocean behind it. If you look at Red Rocks, there's an ocean of lights that's the city of Denver behind it. And it's really, it's worth your while. And the thing that's really cool about that place is you can go any day of the year. It's open. You know, like you go up there and you'll see people. I went at the end of the summer and I saw kids running stairs to get ready for football. You know, and I mean, there's people there all the time. They'll have a yoga thing out there. They'll all kinds of stuff going on. And the thing's open until, I don't know, till like 9 or something at night or whatever.
Before I
But
even
yeah.
went to the show, I went down and saw that whole museum set up and all the pictures. Had you never been there, Paul?
No, never been to Red Rocks.
Yeah,
Bucket
it's
list for me for sure.
Bucket list.
worth a trip.
Yeah.
Like you just like it, and I tell people this every time we talk about it. I talk about it is that just look at the schedule and pick your favorite band on the schedule, and you won't be disappointed. You know, I mean, and I saw Clutch on Friday and Stick Figure on Sunday one time on the same weekend, and like that's as far in the opposite direction as you can get. You know.
Yeah, but it was great.
It was outstanding. So last question of the 20. The nerd alert. What's your geek freak? What do you geek out on? What is besides cleaning supplies, what do you geek out on?
That is what I geek out on.
That is what you geek
Been
out
doing
on.
it for
Dude,
40
you need
years.
cleaning supplies? He's your man. I can't tell you. I mean, and he knows where to get a lot of other supplies too, but man, you need to clean something.
Or you got a
You have
clean question.
You got a
Oh,
chocolate
man.
milk container that blew up in your car that you forgot was half open, half full, and you got to get that smell out of there. I'll tell you how to get that smell out of there.
Exactly. I geek out on anything that it really excites me that I really want to do. Yeah. Just not
What-
one thing. You know, I'm an excitable boy.
Yeah.
Hey, did you take the RoboPong with you to California?
No, that thing got lost in the second move. Remember that? That was.
I do.
Yeah.
Robo Pong.
RoboPong. Dude,
Yeah,
he had this whole thing you set up on the end of a ping pong table and it fires balls at you. You can change the
Okay.
speed, you can change the spin. And would you have like 200 ping pong balls or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of ping pong mastery, we had Pete May on earlier. Could you hang for a couple rounds with Pete May?
I could hang hitting back and forth, but I would probably get slaughtered because I hear he's the man.
He knows the spin. Like,
His name comes up on all the,
oh, yeah.
But in the Kansas area, who is the meanest ping pong player?
Oh man, I haven't played in a long time. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Because that was always a thing I noticed in a lot of places where we'd be touring in the States was, the players party was at some guy's place and then down like Scanny had a ping pong table. I remember someone I can't even remember where they were because by that time I was usually hammered by the time I got there. But I just remember intense.
You're in the
ping-
couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, there's plenty of that.
Oh,
So hey,
that's
quick
funny.
question. Have you ever had chance to come to Toronto in your varied Frisbee career?
I have not, but I have been. My sister, and this is when I was in junior high. Ex-husband draft evaded to Barrie, Ontario.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So and then they finally came back, but I went
so
up
this
to
is
visit.
Travis's dad?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is Travis's dad.
This is I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is the first mention I've ever heard of
Yeah.
Travis's dad.
Yeah. So, but when I went up there, they took me to a Leon Russell concert. which was
Really?
amazing, in Toronto.
Hey, wow.
That's my Toronto experience.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
badass.
It was awesome. It was probably 73,
Wow.
72.
How old were you then?
I was like 15, no, 16 or 17.
So had you been to a concert before that?
Not
Like
like
a
that
rock show?
before. Not
Yeah,
like that
so that was
before.
what started it right there, Leon Russell.
Wow. Okay. It started in Toronto.
It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've taken up a bunch of your time already, and we obviously we could go all night, but
We
things have
could.
to end. But we want to thank you so much for taking the time to stop in and regale us with some of the great stories of your life, your Frisbee life, and the passion, the fellowship. Just listening to what you say and how you say it and how you smile, it's just soul affirming for sure.
Thank you so much. You guys are doing just awesome work. I love you both.
Thank you. Love you,
Well,
Hal.
dude, yeah, we love you too. I love you too personally. I just want to say that I can't thank you enough for all the great conversations I've had with you over the years. You've definitely been a
We
great
will
mentor.
continue.
Oh yeah, without a
will
doubt,
continue.
without a doubt.
With just a,
And Mr. Baye, I hope we get to see each other. It's not 20 years.
absolutely.
We'll make
Yeah.
it happen.
Well-
You could come to Rock Hill in October.
But it's on my mind. It's on my mind.
Well, I'm gonna have to add
You better,
some
when
California
you get back to
locations
Kansas
to my
City,
bucket
talk with
list.
that mean ass boss of yours and see what he says.
I will. I will. Oh, that's funny.
Well, thank you and safe travels back
you.
and forth, and good luck in the final relocation to the California ideal destinations station.
Okay.
Looks really
Thank
good
you for
there.
having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
It was
thanks
awesome.
for finally letting me talk you into it.
I know. It took a little bit, but yeah, we got it.
Right
wasn't-
on, brother.
It
Yeah,
wasn't so terrifying, was it?
No, it was awesome.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
all right.
Well,
Well,
Okay.
give Winston a scratch for me and give Terry a hug, and I'll talk to you more soon, brother.
Okay. Love you
Thanks,
guys.
pal.
Peace.
Love you,
Thanks.
pal.
Love you too, brother. See you.